Hello, guys. Hope you are all refreshed after the doozy of a matchup last game. It's been 2-4-0 map scores so far for this week of Chinese contenders. I am your host, Ham Tornado, now joined on the desk by the lovely Volamella, of course, and reappearing will be Panda. So, now, we have a little bit of time to break down our next matchup. It will be Team CC versus Lucky Future. The last matchup, a little bit of a close thing despite that scoreline, but here we do expect Lucky Future to be something of an underdog. Is that correct, Panda?
I think it's safe to say, in the David versus Goliath situation versus Team CC being the fan favorite, the Shanghai Dragons Academy team, I think Lucky Future definitely has their work cut out for them in this upcoming matchup. But they do have the stats to back it up as well. Yes, they are sitting here in the map differential, not in the strongest in the standings, but they definitely have a certain amount of grit behind their team name to push Team CC to the next level.
Yeah, and Volama, what can you tell us about this Team CC? They are the Shanghai Academy team.
They're really experienced. They come from quite a long line of time played within Overwatch, so I'm looking to see quite a lot of experience and not a ton of errors because I think they're going to win.
Yeah, absolutely. As we open up, the casters will be chomping at the bits this time around. Labosco and AEIOU. Vowels, take it away.
Thank you very much, Ham. As we are already going on in this game, just started, as both teams have already made their way out. Team CC in the blue, Lucky Future in the red, and Lucky Future taking control, Vowels, of the point here early on as Yarg dealing out some damage from above. And getting that first pick, though, with the help of the Widowmaker. So looking like a pretty good start here, at the very least, for Lucky Future. But as I say that, the Brigitte getting a couple of early limbs, evening this fight up. So not out of it just yet is Team CC. As Yarg, though, coming in with that barrage should seal it here for Lucky Future.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a hesitation at the start from Team CC. They rolled out to spawn with these Goats comp, as we've all come to know and love. Once they saw what they were running against, they retreated back, switched over to the Tracer, gave up a little bit of time and allowed Lucky Future to take some early point control, and that's pretty much the story so far. Going to see a couple more changes, taking up their own pharmacy now to answer against Yarg, and K-Heart's going to be moving on to the Widowmaker as well. We seem to be really proficient in his hero, so I'm hoping for a good showing.
Definitely will have to pay attention to K-Heart here, as the start again going very well for Lucky Future, as Tion able to get another early pick for their side, and it's forcing back Team CC. The one good thing here, Vowels, is they get that early pick, Team CC very quickly falling back to regroup.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I like the support line Team CC's running. They're making a couple more changes. K-Heart on his 4th hero, I believe, already. I didn't see what his initial one was, but we saw him go to the Tracer, then the Widow, now on the McCree, so still trying to figure out what they want to run as an answer to this, but looking at the Mercy Moira support line, you've got an awful lot of healing there, but I'm not sure I like taking the Moira reserves there. We know how powerful this boards are at the moment, especially against the Pharmacy.
The Chiron does have the Earth Shatter available, though, for the side of Team CC. And oh, the triple kill, though, with the self-destruct, as Tion was able to send that one over and get, Lucky Future right now going to have a chance here to take night markets, as they're already up to 75%.
If you can get that kind of value out of self-destruct regularly, you can completely dominate an opponent. It's great work from Tian, just sends the bomb up in the air, takes out 3, simple as that. We're going to see Sleepwalker. It's interesting to see him actually getting the start over Lee. He didn't have a great performance so far, but he's doing pretty well so far to see. He's got the Riptide ready and is going to invest it now.
Yarg, the one who's been dealing a lot of damage with this Pharah as well, and out comes the tire, but it's quickly taken out by Keo, so nothing there. Yarg going back towards the point as Team CC has to make their way, as it's up to 99% here for Lucky Future. The barrage from Yarg again quickly finds 2, but on the ground, the work being done to maybe finally get this switch for Team CC, as they just have a few more players to take out for Lucky Future, as they will finally get to start building up percentage, but they already got to 99% is the good thing for Lucky Future.
Yeah, great work from Keo there at the start. Manages to scout out not only the Junkrat, but takes out the Riptide before it can do any damage as well. Nice follow from Team CC, take the 5v6, pretty easy cleanup. They do have a uphill battle though. They're going to have both support ultimates coming up on the Barrage Pulse Bomb as well, but they need to win completely out here. They can't afford to lose a team fight. And coming up on with Gary's Transcendence, so what's Primal, they've got a couple tools for the offense.
And they don't necessarily right now have to push in too hard since they do already have the 99%. K-Hart getting that pick though onto the Widowmaker is going to take off a lot of pressure, especially for pressure in the sky for the Pharahs that are here. So Yakumo going to be able to do a lot more, potentially just trying to deal with the Pharah on the other side. And Yarg is then the one hitting a couple of those direct shots though and putting the pressure on, as now looking with the Tesla cannon to try and jump in is the Winston in Zichiron. Zichiron there though kind of going to be the only one left alive. Lucky Future, this should be the flip back for them.
Yeah, we're seeing two very different playstyles with these Pharahs. Yarg is more focused on melting down the tanks, maybe picking up a couple squishies on the ground. Yakumo on the other hand is very focused on the area battle, always chasing Yarg, trying to take out his counterpart. Couldn't quite pull it off, and it's great work from Sleepwalker picking up a nice couple picks there. Pretty easy cleanup to Lucky Future after that.
They do get the 1-0 lead here as well, thanks to it. But now we're going to be going into City Center a little bit more enclosed. You still generally can see Pharahs used here. Looks like, though, they're going with the Goats comp now, this time on the side of Lucky Future. So, actually looks like both teams are going to go Goats.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. Control Center is a map we've always seen a lot of Reinhardt-based, more ground death bally comps rather than the dive, so we know how powerful Ghost comps can be, and it's actually really interesting. We're seeing Yarg and Sleepwater on dive tanks, so this is a very interesting take on quad tank for the side of Lucky Future, kind of running a death ball with a dive. We've seen Winston run almost as a DPS occasionally before. It'll be interesting to see how they can make it work here. It's definitely something unique to China.
Team CC, one right now is hiding, and two, they did do a couple of switches. They have Ikumo on the Brigitte, and then they have the McCree. So theirs is a little bit different as well. So not quite Goats either on either side, but regardless, they now finally will have the engage come here from Team CC, and K-Hart will find the first pick onto Yarg. Sleepwalker trying to deal this damage in. His team will win this point at the very least and start to build a little bit of percentage, but they're down 6v5. So KR continuing to use the revolver there to deal the damage out, breaks the shield, but they haven't been able to get the follow-up. Yakumo finally getting so what here afterwards. The tank from Korea, as now they use the Earth Shatter. They do get one into it, but they can't really follow up on the damage afterwards. K-Hart uses the Deadeye to finally finish off the last one, and now they'll start to build all percentages. They are at 4%, 20% only gain there for Lucky Future, and they are forced back to spawn.
Yeah, great work from Team CC. They don't need to go aggressive with what they're up against. They can let the dive come in, yet let Yarg get a little bit isolated. He dived in, Sleepwalker was still hanging back on the Diva. Managed to pick off that and just slowly walk forward, taking picks one by one. But it's a huge Graviton here.
Massive shatter that led to the Graviton Surge. KR able to get one, but the self-destruct able to get two here from Sleepwalker. Graviton Surge, though, used now by the side of Team C, does manage to grab a couple and might keep this in here. Yarg, though, able to get one in the meantime. Back with another Earth Shatter was Zishiran, but he quickly falls as Lucky Future looks to take this back as they're about to put the point back.
Yeah, a lot of ultimates invested on both sides, both grabs in particular, but if you look at Tian for Lucky Future, already set nearly 70% up to another grab. That's a huge range. Leon gets staggered late, so it's going to be a little while before Team CC can re-engage. They've got to regroup, get their heads back in the game. We're going to see K-Hart moving off the mid-3 now onto the Reaper, really strong against his tank-heavy compositions, get nice and close up, and that's a huge shatter to open up this fight.
Another big shatter here, K-Hart getting too quickly off of it, and Zishiran getting another one afterward, and just continuing to press a W button, move forward onto the point, as this flip will come right back over for Team CC. This has been back and forth here as we are on City Center.
Yeah, that's just the nature of these comps though. It's very momentum based. You try and get what... It's almost interesting actually. They're playing kind of pick-based compositions with tanks. You take one and just slowly roll forward off that. You're going to see a Graviton invested, so what charges through. And it's going to be Lucky Future winning the fight. They're going to take back the point again.
Just the back and forth we're seeing here, Valves. They do have a couple of players left to try and deal with. Yarg still in the air. Oh, nice little use of the E there. Boops the boops K-Hart right into the middle of his team, so no chance for K-Hart there. Who holds on to the Death Blossom here for this next fight. Alt Economy pretty much in favor, too, of Lucky Future as of right now. Late Young trying to make some room around, uses the Graviton Surge, quickly putting the damage out onto Yarg. Death Blossom coming into the middle there of the Graviton Surge by K-Hart, manages to get one follow-up afterwards, allows them to have a chance here to maybe move forward. K-Hart going for another change, though, too, as we finally get to see what's happening in the fight there, and it's being won again as Team CC quickly flips it back.
Okay, so Yarg has finally moved off a tank onto the Farah, built up the barrage. We're seeing K-Hart in response moving back over to number 3. They don't value tank shredding as much as taking out the aerial threat, and we know just how much of a threat Yarg can be if you let him go unchecked. Barrage gets invested but doesn't find anything, as Lucky Future try and find an opening here.
Have to keep pushing forward as 96% is where it is for Team CC if Yarg wants to win this map outright. Oh, but there, the flashbang takes Yarg out from K-Hart. Graviton Surge in desperation here manages to get a few. K-Hart able to follow up with a kill afterwards. Sleepwalker's self-destruct only able to get one, and it looks like Team CC is going to be able to force this to go to a third map here. Just have to finish these last few players off. The Lucio stalling here and the Tracer, and now we will go to map 3.
I think that was the first time on that entire round where a team won team fights in a row.
Yeah.
Great work from Team CC. Just get a couple picks, fall back, let them come to you because it is overtime. Lucky Future have to scramble to the point to try and contest. Just let them come to you, pick them off one by one. Great work from K-Hart actually going back and forth, showing a lot of versatility. Couldn't really get control of it on Night Market, but on Command Center using his hero ball to full effect. And moving over to Widower actually, another hero we've seen him be really, really great on.
And it's not a bad pick, too, when you think about it, Vals. They know that Yarg's more than likely going to be on that Pharah. And we saw, I think, on Night Market enough of the Pharah v Pharah there to know that Yarg is probably the better Pharah. So you put Yakumo on a flanking character like the Tracer and give yourself a chance in that sort of way. So as they make their way over the bridge towards the middle, Team CC looking for one of those early picks, but Gary going to get it on his counterpart, and Keo Hart having to escape away from the diving Winston and is now extremely low. Has to make the way over to the large health pack, still trying to deal the damage out, but is going to have to regroup here. Very good start for Lucky Future.
Yeah, good start from Lucky Future. It's nice awareness. You know the main threat of this Team CC composition is going to be K-Hart's Widowmaker. Sleepwalker gonna try his best, but just hasn't been able to match. I don't think he'll be able to match K-Hart based on their performances last week. So you've got to try and take out the Widowmaker through other means. Full dive aggression goes in. K-Hart gets nullified. Team CC tries to scramble to make up for it, but they can't quite find it. And it's going to be the first fight going into Lucky Future.
Yarg already up to 61% to the barrage. Gets taken out of the air, though, by K-Hart. So some of that space that needed to be made to get that fair spam out of the way already done, as now they'll be able to push their way onto the point. Still looking for a couple of more picks, though, is K-Hart. Sleepwalker, by the way, on the Widowmaker as well, as Tian able to at least get the mech of his counterpart out. The self-destruct helps get another one, and so what finds K-Hart as Yakumo trying to take out the Widowmaker. Over on the side, not able to get this one again is Team CC struggling mightily here as they're already up to 50% is Lucky Future.
Yeah, when we were seeing more death ball viscons, I think the tank battle was quite even, but so far, when you were seeing dive compositions on Night Market and now Gardens, Lucky Future are just completely outclassing Team CC. So what and Tiana are much more coordinated than GQ and the late Young are, and I just feel like they're both also mechanically better. They're outclassing Team CC's tanks in every way, and that's just saying they want to win every fight. It's a nice pick from Yakumo onto Gary, but it's going to immediately get rezzed.
When you look at one of their tanks, and so what was a player who was being considered for the Dallas Fuel, so that's not too much of a surprise here. Yarg coming in with the barrage. Part of it gets eaten, but he's able to get Keo down at the very least. Out comes the Primal Rage from Zichiran, as Zichiran in that little room with the baby Diva couldn't finish it off before the Diva mech came back, and Tiana coming back in to help get rid of K-Hart. looking very, very tough right now for the side of Team CC. They're trying to get the flip over, but they don't have anybody who can get to the point. And map number 1 is going to go to Lucky Future. So the team that's at the top of this group struggling here in map number 1, and the team at the bottom getting that first win. And I mean, Vowels, you couldn't ask for a better start, I think, if you're Lucky Future.
Yeah, Team CC definitely going to want to try and forget that round, maybe play it off as a bit of a warm-up. But Lucky Future have really come out the gate swinging. They're ready to fight. They're bringing out a really clean dive, much more coordinated than we see in the Chinese region a lot. You typically see Winstons kind of going in on their own and trying to cause chaos while D.Va hangs back. This dive is much more on the same page, both tanks working together in synergy, and So What has put in a really great performance so far.
You can see why he was being considered for an Overwatch League roster. And I think the other thing, too, is I think the Pharah was one of the big differences as well for Lucky Future. The fact that they had somebody who seemed to be able to play it at such a high level seemed to make such a big thing. So Yarg, somebody that we'll pay attention to as well. But we're going to take a quick time out here. When we come back, we will have map number 2, see if Team CC can even this up as we try to go into half after that. We'll be back here on Broadcast.gg.
Chain bang against my chest like whoa. $1 million mind from the west side, yo. The full moon, if we gon' get wild, yo. Stressed out, you don't want to get too close. Stand down before we put you and all of your men down. Fire squad camo, kicking through the door. Keep firing till the clip is on the floor. Reload. the set list. Walk in the spot and I drop one track. Know who the best is. Walk in the rave like check this. Got one more for the set list.
Tell me what's going down. I can't stand it when you're so shut down.
Now I want more. Now I want more. Now I want more. Now I want more.
Tell me what's going down. I can't stand it when you're so shut down.
Now I want more. Now I want more. Now I want more. Now I want more.
Tell me what's
Walk in the rave like check this. Got one more for the set list. Walk in the spot and I drop one track. Know who the best is.
Tell me what's going. Tell me what's going down. I can't stand it when you're so shut down.
Now I want more. Now I want more. Now I want more. Now I want more. Walk in the rave like check this. Got one more for the set list. Walk in the spot and I drop one track. Know who the best is. Walk in the rave like check this. Got one more for the set list. But now I want more. But now I want more. But now I want more.
Tell me what's going down. Tell me what's going down. I can't stand it when you're so shut down.
And we are back here on Broadcast.gg. Labosco here alongside of me. Val's glad you're joining us here for Team CZ versus Lucky Future. Val's Lucky Future with that 1-0 lead. We're going into Kings Row now. What are the expectations we should have here? We also have a substitution that was made. Sleepwalker out, Wonley in.
What's actually really interesting to me, first off, is that Lucky Future is taking on what we've seen more of a meta lately, the single support defense first defense on Kings Row. Sorry. He didn't run this last time, went with the Zenyatta pick. Gary's moved over to the Roadhog now, so it's been really interesting seeing this evolve. Started as a Junktown strategy when you take the double snipers. They're going to take Junkrat here instead of a Widowmaker, which I do like. I feel like that fits Yarg's hero pool a lot better. And I like the substitution of Wonley in as well. I feel like he's a lot more flexible than Sleepwalker.
Team CC going to be attacking here first, making their way onto the point. Like you said, you have that one support comp that's being run right now by Lucky Future. Haven't found any picks yet as Team CC as they're working, just trying to build up onto that point, almost have a tick. Looks like they might have gotten it, or no, they just haven't gotten it. Looks like they just were a little bit away from it. Wan Lee taking out the first one there in Late Young, and then K Hart going down as well. So defensively, starting out pretty good.
Yeah, a little bit of a staggering on the way up for Team CC, but it's great work from Lucky Future. So what managed to find the first pick onto, I believe it was Keo under Zenyatta, managed to recontest a point just at the right time, as you were saying. It's nice and clinical so far, just slowly move back, find the pick, move back in, everyone play around the shield. Yarg's already built up a Riptide, is going to invest it now to try and shut down this offense before it can even begin.
Going off the statue in the middle and comes down right onto the head of K Hart. So the Widowmaker quickly out here. They do have a res available and they will use it though. Then Late Young quickly taken out by a Dragon Strike, countering Dragon Strike used by Yakumo. Yakumo not getting anything with his, so Wan Lee having the better exchange there, and this defense still holding pretty strong as Kyo able to finally find somebody though. So now here maybe the offense will have a chance.
Tian tried to contest a high ground there where all of Team CC was setting up. Unfortunately went out on his own because no one else in his team has the ability to go with him. Gets picked, but it's great work from Sowat and Yarg to find a couple picks, stop Team CC trying to engage, and buy time so Tian can come back. However, there are quite a few ultimates going on for Team CC though. Kyo's got Transcendence, Late Young's going to have a Graviton. Yakumo's actually moved over to the Farron now. I like this pick. There's not much of an answer beyond maybe the Hamza finding a couple accurate picks, maybe Tian or Diva flying up. Should be a pretty strong hero, and we know Yakumo's got a lot of proficiency on this projectile DPS too.
Quickly pulled in though was Kyo by Gary's hook, and now the Graviton Surge catches a few in the hotel, but that's okay. They're actually able to turn it around. So the offense here with the help of the Fair looks like they're going to finally stabilize and have a chance here to get this point. That first stick just about to build up. Tian the only one left and quickly taken care of as they now will finally capture this and get that payload started here just soon. But they do it after they give up a lot of time, under a minute left on the clock, which gets them to 3:19 here for the start of their push.
Yeah, nice heads up play from Late Young. Finally gives up with, we lost a player, fall back, we lost a player, fall back. Sees an opening, invests the Graviton after already losing a pick, and it works out. So they're going to have quite a few more ultimates. Infosight's just come online and being used by K-Hart so they can scout out. They've got an Earth Shadow to work with. Dragon Strike's going to come through though to try and slow down Team CC. Give Lucky Future a little bit more of a chance to regroup.
Does allow them that little bit of extra time, like you said, Val, but still pushing up after it's over is Ishiran and the rest of the team for Team CC. They have some ultimates to work with as well. We'll see when that Earth Shadow is going to come out here and see if it can get pretty big. Both these Reinhardts just swinging the hammer, just trying to continue to get the damage out for their team. As Team CC building up a very nice alt bank right now, as they do have the Graviton Surge available for them too, to try and maybe use with the barrage. We'll see. There's always, the nice thing about there not being too many divas is you don't have to worry too much about where you throw that Graviton Surge, as long as you get the people that you want in it. Have to use the res onto Wan Lee too. Here was Lucky Future, so that bodes well to have that already out, as the Graviton Surge and Barrage combo only gets one, and so what, but it should be enough to allow for the cart to continue forward for Team CC.
Yeah, it's more than enough. A nice pick from K-Hart to Wan Lee as well, and it's actually great management from Team CC in that street space. Just slowly edge forward, get a bit of poke in, allow Late Young to farm up another Graviton. It's good work from Yarg, seeing him isolated. Maybe didn't need to invest a barrage, but hey, if he gets you a pick, he gets you a pick. Great pick on Sentry and Kyo now, actually. It's going to be a good turnaround for Lucky Future, stalling Team CC right at the last moment.
It seems that maybe Lucky Future's Yarg is just so confident in their ability that they don't mind using the barrage there to quickly eliminate a high priority target, especially if Late Young had a pretty high charge, which it seemed like might be the case. Regardless, though, Wan Lee in a position here defensively as well to hold up and put a lot of damage out early on. So you have to be very careful as they push towards that card, as they have to try and get it past that, just that little bit that's left. This is always a spot where the defenses can set up so well. Tian here up top as well, using the Earth Shatter here. They do manage to get Late Young, but they can't take Late Young out, so that could be disastrous here. K-Hard able to take Yarg out of the air as well. Rez coming back in to bring back Yarg, but they're able to bring back their main tank as well for the side of Team CC. Yarg does manage to get Zishiran down afterwards, but the cart has been stalled. Yakumo though finding Tian, and now it's pretty much just Yarg, one of the only ones left, along with his Mercy, to try and stall this out. They do have 20 seconds left to go, but they should capture the point here. So now they will push on for that final point.
There were a lot of words you can describe Century's Resurrect there with. I'm not sure how many are appropriate for a Contenders broadcast, so I'm going to go with brave. A very brave resurrection. Luckily, the bubble comes through to save him, and that turns it around for Team CC. It's actually really interesting to me that Tian, okay, he's moved on to Azaya now, but sticking with the Diva, valuing the flexibility of being able to deal with Yakumo over necessarily running the Zaya. Nice couple of picks from the defense. Lucky Future though is going to shut down Team CC. Great shot to Wanley, shut down Yakumo before he can make a move, and Yarg actually is going to move over to Genji now, so a nice bucket pick for him. Try and solidify this defense. Only a minute left. There's actually quite a few stagger picks coming out.
Yeah, and that's something that's going to make things really hard for Team CC. Yakumo holding on to this barrage as well. We know that there's not really that skybox to work with, or these surprise valves that they're staying on the Pharah.
It doesn't surprise me too much. It's been working pretty well so far. Maybe you've lost this fight, you've still got a chance to re-engage. You can get a lot of value out of the Mirage Graviton combo, but from what we've seen the Chinese Contenders, it doesn't surprise me at all that they're running the Barrage. And hey! Pretty good reason to keep using it.
Good way to wait.
Now, so maybe gonna swap, but definitely a good idea to stick on the Pharah if you can pull out plays like that.
And now you get to see the swap here for Yakumo going over to the Genji as they push down through this final point, as they are so close to taking it here. 12 seconds left on the clock. They want to try and complete it beforehand too, so they got to try and get these eliminations out here early. Able to bait out the Earth Shatter as well from So What is the big thing there. Good charge by Zishiran as he uses the grab. The Earth Shatter can't get anybody. Now has to go back onto the cart. Overtime meter does start, so there's not going to be another attack for Team CC after this. Late Young coming in around. Oh, and the big elimination by K-Hard, finding the head of Gary. So they will eventually get this if they can get these last couple out of the way. Just have to finally finish it off, and they do in overtime.
Yeah, great work from Team CC. K-Hart in particular just clicking heads in the background while his tanks and Yakumo buy up all the attention. It is an overtime, but you've still finished out the map. Even if Lucky Future managed to finish out King's Who as well, you're going to have an opportunity to go for a second round, maybe get edge out and win in overtime. But yeah, it's great work so far, and it's actually really interesting to me. The difference in parity between these tank lines when you're running a dive versus running a death ball. We saw it in Lijiang, we're seeing it again here. When we're seeing dive compositions, Lucky Future are completely outclassing Team CC. But in death ball, Reinhardt based comps, GQin is definitely holding his own, if not maybe has the advantage over So What. It's really interesting to watch the dynamic here.
The dynamic is something that we'll have to continue to watch as we move forward here. And I mean, the one thing too is Lucky Future has given themselves another opportunity to get a win just based on the fact that they pushed it to overtime for Team CC to even get this. So if they have any time on the clock, Lucky Future will have a chance to win this map and take a 2-0 lead. And I think just that alone would be unprecedented with how good Team CC's been up till this point, Val.
Yeah, it's been a day full of upsets kind of, so doesn't surprise me at all. Team CC really need to get in gear, and if they're going to have an opportunity to win out this match, King's Row, where you're not running the dive, where you're on more equal footing with your tank lines, this needs to be an opportunity. If they go 2-0 down here, I can't see them coming back to win the series.
All important map for them to win here. We'll see how the defense goes. They are going with that Widow Junkrat comp. And on the other side, it looks like they're going to go with the Roadhog along with the Widow Hanzo. So dual snipers on one side, and on the other side, the anti-dive. Yarg sending out those arrows quickly here at the start. K-Hart looking for a head to maybe get this defense started off right with an early pick Either way, going to have to rotate around here now as they're trying to stay a little bit conservative on that. That will allow for Lucky Future to get onto the point, close to getting to halfway through that first tick. Yarg now on the flank here, at least forces everybody off of the high ground. See if that helps as well. K-Hart, though, able to take out Wanli in the meantime and keep this fight fairly even, but the res does come back out. Yarg having to back away a little bit as he went into a well of characters there, and then quickly gets eliminated by Yakumo.
Yeah, Yarg has a nice flank, but unfortunately he gets a lot of his slow motion. TMTC get by with the skin in their teeth. Lucky Future seem to really like this triple tank support composition. Let Gary show off his mechanical ability. Already building up nearly the whole hog, so definitely putting the work in. Hoyokian working as a single support and making it work. Already built up a Valkyrie, which is being invested in too, so a nice opening for Lucky Future, but Yakumo for Team CC is pulling out the Riptire.
Yeah, Riptire able to get 1-2 there, and Gary eventually eliminated 2. And getting 2 more is Yakumo, or 1 more, sorry, it was Tian's mech that was the other thing that was taken out. So they did give up a tick, but their defense is still holding strong here, at least keeping this fairly even. Finds himself a Mercy as well as Yakumo's now on fire, and then he finds another in Yarg.
Yeah, that's one of the downsides to running such a tank-heavy composition. When you've got a Junkrat as proficient as Yakumo, it's literally free money. Gets a nice Riptire, takes out Gary, follows it up, and he's already 75% to a new one, so all scale changes for Lucky Future. Moving over to a dive composition, which we know they've definitely got the upper hand with. Yarg's going to go into Genji, Gary's going to go into Zenyatta, so about 2 minutes left. You've got to make the changes now if you want to make them work.
Little surprised that we didn't see Yarg maybe go on to a character we've seen Yarg be extremely successful on in the fair. Regardless, though, Genji still, like you said, a pocket hit for him. They do get a second tick as well, so they're drawing ever closer. Tian with the quad ends up getting the opening needed there for Lucky Future to eventually take that. It was actually a triple N. It was the supercharger, but still massive self-destruct.
Yeah, Tian manages to fit this just in the corner of the corridor, completely catches out Team CC. You didn't expect a self-destruct to be there, neither did they. It's easy triple kill, blows the point wide open, and Tian is actually finding nice value out of these self-destructs today. We saw him get a good one early on in Lijiang Tower, gets a nice one here. If he can keep this up, definitely plays into the advantage of Lucky Future, especially while they keep running dive. They're going to swap away for it though, go back to Ryan Zaya, both teams running effectively mirror comps here. Just a Junkrat versus Genji is the only difference.
3:12 here to get this through the streets phase. Yakumo's tired, doesn't get anything for Team CC. Team CC needs to delay them for as long as possible. We know that they finish with no time on the clock. Right now, with how long it's taking, there might be a little bit of time for Lucky Future depending how it goes. And Wan Li getting that pick, and the rest of the team falling here with the help of Yarg, who already is built up to a Dragon Blade too. They have the potential here to have a decent time bank going into this final point.
Yeah, if Team CC wants to win this map, they've got to have better awareness than that. You can't let Wanli just sneak into your backline, find 2 picks before you eventually turn around and punish him. Manages to get a third on his way out as well, completely blows that wide open for Lucky Future. And now Team CC backs against the wall with 2.5 minutes on the time bank. They need to stop second point here. But Yarg's got a Dragon Blade. Kyo needs to try and answer this with a Transcendence.
Pay attention to when the Transcendence and Dragon Blades happen, and it's not going to be quick enough. As able to take down one was Yarg, so Yakumo being lost to this fight early on, and then K-Hart falling as well. They should be able to get this point here very soon, and they can follow up with these last few. Sentry did get the res onto Yakumo at the very least, so they weren't able to body block that res too well, but it looks like it might not matter too much as Lucky Future still getting the eliminations that they need.
Yeah, it looked like Wanli might... So K-Hart might have just been able to bail out Team CC, managed to find a nice 2 picks from the back before he gets punished, but Tian invested the Graviton, closes that out for Lucky Future, and now with over 3 minutes on the time bank moving into third, you've got to cut, maybe you're going to have a Graviton for late young soon. Yakumo maybe going to come on the blade, but Team CC really need to pull out something here to shut down Lucky Future.
2:50 on the clock, so a decent amount of time here to at least have some sort of time bank as they are getting final corner as Yarg and So What combining here to get some eliminations quickly too, as their team now has a chance here to move on to this final. Dion, we've been waving here a little bit nonchalant about how things are, and they get the res onto Gary, so they're back to full strength here as they try to make this final push. Trying to get some shots from Spawn is K-Hart. Yakumo coming in with the Dragon Blade is able to at least get the Mercy out of the picture. Tries to get Wan Lee, but Wan Lee with the butt end of the sniper rifle, able to keep himself in the fight. So still a chance here for Lucky Future with 2 minutes left to go. Yarg, one of the only ones left, though, quickly eliminated. And this will look like the defense stabilizing here, at least for the moment. But as the re-engage comes in from the respawners, it looks like there might be a chance here for Lucky Future.
Yeah, huge spawn advantage for Team CC, but it's all Yakumo can do is to sit on the point, hold up shield for as long as he can. Nice shadow comes down for So What just to finish it out, and that's going to be Lucky Future finishing out the map with a lot more time on the board.
There won't even be an attempt for Team CC to try and attack. It will be 1:43 on the clock for Lucky Future to get 33%. And we saw they took 33% fairly quick, Vowels, last time. I mean, if you're Team CC, what are you doing right now? Because you're the team that everybody thought would be in the driver's seat at this point. Not the case. What is it that's being done by Lucky Future that's hurting them so bad?
Team CC need to find an answer for So What and Tian. I've talked about how much stronger they look on dive, but even on these deathball comps now, So What and Tian are just completely outclassing Shikurin and Late Young, managing to farm up Zaya Gravidons quickly, winning the Reinhardt mind games everyone likes to talk about. It's just there's no response from Team CC. They can't find a way to deal with these tanks that are completely dominating a fight. And if they can't find a way to do that, they're not going to find a way to win this map. End of. Well, they can't win the map anyway. They can at least try and settle for a draw to edge their way back in. But if they lose this here, I think it's over for Team CC in this series.
Well, the one good thing is Team CC was very, very strong knowing what comp they wanted to come out with here. So we'll see if they can change their fortune here and at least force a draw on King's Row. Haven't seen too many draws on King's Row as of late, but that doesn't mean we won't see one right now. Moving forward is Lucky Future. They get onto the point here quickly, already almost halfway to that golden tick there. Have to back up. Yar going on the long flank here, uses the hook to pull in the Diva, but can't finish it off. There's a Mercy right there to heal. And on the point, though, Lucky Future doing what's needed because there's no Diva because it was chasing a Roadhog.
Yeah, pretty simple. Yarg plays bait, hooks Diva to get his attention, walks away. It's just going to be Wan Lee sitting in the back, clicking heads, Waymaker. You know the drill. It's a nice, easy cleanup from Lucky Future. Get the last couple of stragglers, shut down Sentry, and that's going to be it. Jobs are good, and Lucky Future go 2-up in the series.
Incredible to see from Lucky Future. Again, good play by Yarg there to get the Diva's attention away. And now they have that 2-0 lead. Team CC, they have not looked like the Team CC that we've expected to up until this point. Vowels, going into this halftime, what do you think needs to change from them?
Like I've said, they need to try and find an answer to the tank aggression of Lucky Future. Well, it's not even aggression, though. It's just being able to take over the fights, demanding attention from Team CC. Outside of that, we need to see more of a performance from Yakumo and K-Hart. Last week they had all the highlight reel plays completely take over the series on DPS, make everyone fall in love with them. And while they're not necessarily playing bad today, they aren't able to hit quite the same peaks. So if Yakumo and K-Hart can step it up, maybe there's an opening for Team CC, but at the moment I'm not seeing it.
All the confidence in the world for the side of Lucky Future, that's for sure. I mean, they have been playing incredibly well. You talked about the tank line already, but just talk about them a little bit more. So What being one of them who's just playing so well.
Yeah, we're actually going to throw it over to the analyst desk. I'd like to see what they think about this, especially the tank battles in particular, because I'm stumped. I don't see a way back in for Team CC at the moment. I'd like to hear what the desk thinks, so we're going to hand it back over to Ham and the lovely analysts.
Thank you, Vowels. We accept that gracious baton passing. And Labasco brings up an excellent point right here. We're not seeing, the same kind of Team CC of old, reliant on that DPS. And instead, it's a couple of new players on the block stepping in from Lucky Future, who close out that first half 2-0 against the Shanghai Dragons Academy team. I mean, I certainly wasn't expecting it. We didn't quite have a chance to get the predictions from our analysts, but we'll harken back to the very first set on Lijiang Tower, where we already started to see this kind of divergence. Volamel, can you help break that down?
It seemed like Tien just kind of on the side of Lucky Future. He felt like he had his number. Yarg just seemed to output a ton of damage, and Tien was always there to clean everything up. He's kind of been a standout for me in particular. And Vals makes a good point. I don't know exactly what's going on with Team CC. Mm-hmm. This is, they have, essence of Miraculous Youngster from back in the day. They are tied with the Shanghai Dragons. So if anybody was going to bring out that solo mercy kind of attack or defense on King's Row, I kind of assumed it was going to be them and not Lucky Future.
Mm-hmm.
We look at the kind of stories of these teams. Team CC, they're kind of like Owl Academy. Like these are people that probably could be in the Overwatch League. And then Lucky Future, they're a mixed roster, so you already have to question their communication, and at times it has been in question. But today it seems like it's been on point for the most part.
All the planets are aligned right now. Panda, would you agree with that assessment? Is it Team CC kind of dropping the ball here, or Lucky Future really stepping it up?
I think it's definitely their game to lose, Ham, and agreeing with my co-analyst of Volamel. Yeah, Team CC, I think they're a little falling behind here. I mean, when you set yourself up so comfortably at the top of the food chain in this group stage, you're going to set yourself up for disaster when you underestimate your opponent. I mean, when you look at the flexibility coming through from Yard and able to flex around the substitutions from Wan Li and Sleepwalker as well, that adds a whole bunch of diversity to the game itself. I mean, when you have a Roadhog composition playing out that can then, on a whim, just switch to a full dive composition, that's a very interesting team to me, something that I haven't really seen coming out from Lucky Future, but it's certainly more enabled by these new roster picks.
And enabling your DPS could be the name of the game moving forward here. As we were chatting in the Analysts channel, something that absolutely stood out to us was the level of tank play coming out from the side of Lucky Future. Tien and So What working together to really create a lot of space, and oftentimes, being that extra difference maker coming through, getting those finishing blows. However, Volamel, I would like to say, some of just the basic hero composition picks from Team CC seem to be giving them that inherent disadvantage, in particular on Lijiang Control Center. That was actually kind of one of the first times that we really saw like a Thonker type of moment with Yarg, the quadruple tank, with Yarg on that Winston.
Yeah, it was a bit strange, to say the least. Yeah, it was a little weird. I've seen it before, and I've never was a huge fan of it. A lot of NA contenders, some of the lower tier NA contenders teams back last season were running it on Ilios Ruins, and they were holding close to construction side and kind of splitting the map in half, which I thought was interesting. And kind of coming from that, the only thing that I can think of is that they're kind of playing this they're looking for very long, drawn-out fights. They're looking to get the Zarya charge up, build maybe a Primal Rage to be able to just like uncontested dive and just try to like displace the enemy as much as they can, while also milking the point as long as possible. It's difficult to kind of exactly get into their minds. It is a creative composition, I'll give them that, but it's maybe not the best in this meta where reactionary swaps are so important.
You bring up an excellent point, Volamel. We saw so much counterpicking going on, even in Lijiang. It's like, okay, you bring out the Winston, then we're going to bring out a Reaper. You bring out a Reaper, then we'll swap to a Pharah. But in the end, it did seem like Lucky Future kind of had a clearer idea of the wind condition, the reason that they were picking those separate types of heroes, in particular on King's Row for that last take with the Roadhog pick, which was pretty unusual. Panda, moving forward now into the second half, Team CC, they've yet to lose a set. They're currently 2-0, and Lucky Future themselves will flip-flop those numbers. They are 0-2, trying to get ready to take the first loss from this Team CC. How do CC bring it back? Who do they coalesce around in this team?
For Team CC, I mean, I think you just have to rally within your own self, rally your comms, make sure everything becomes copacetic and coherent as well.
Love that.
Once you get past all of those latencies in between team communication as well, it just becomes a whole lot easier for Synergy to find itself in between K-Heart, Yakumo, their tank line, so on and so forth. I mean, even their backline as well. Look at Kaio has been having very fantastic positioning, landing lots of volleys to the face of his adversaries. Orb Destruction as well is not exactly a friendly orb to your face in the sense that it has no damage fall off, but they're not really setting them up properly at all. And I think again that really comes down to the stylistic difference in between these two teams now. I mean, with Lucky Future coming out on these wonky compositions, that Junkertown composition with the solo heal on the Mercy, at points of play to the reactionary concept like Volamel was talking about, and you yourself as well, it becomes a little bit more difficult for Team CC to gain a footing on that. We know that Team CC love their style that they play, whether it's full aggressive or the pullback style. They're going to stick to that composition through and through until they need to take a full swap altogether. I think a minor bit of hesitation coming from Team CC might end up coming back to bite them in the rear a little bit, especially in these previous maps. But going forward off of here, you just have to trust your gut, trust your grit. I mean, these guys, again, Shanghai Dragons Academy team, they have the backing, they got the coaching, they got the Skittles, man. They just got to show them.
Time to taste the rainbow. Volamel, would you agree? Just be a little quicker to turn on your feet.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And we are going to see somebody who I've been very familiar with coming in from Miraculous Youngster, Late Young being subbed out for Zijin. He's been kind of an important figure for this team, but he hasn't really found a ton of success. And it goes back to Panda's point where maybe they just need to come kind of, again, bringing up Arrow, bringing up that kind of, player management coaching style, calm down, take a breath, maybe sub in a new player. Let's try again.
That might be the way forward. Team CC definitely going to be hoping that Coach Volamel's words ring true for them in our third map as we enter our second half. Lucky Future, though, they are so close to getting their first series win against one of the strongest teams in their group. But to break this down, guide us through these games, I'm going to pass the torch over to our lovely casters, Labosco and Vowels. You guys, take it away.
Thank you very much, Ham Tornado, and glad to have you back with us as we get ready for the start of the second half. And Vowels, you heard them say we're going to Volskaya Industries. Does this play into the hand of Team CC in their comeback here to try and do this reverse sweep?
Not necessarily. We do see a lot of dive here playing against Team CC. Maybe now they've subbed in Zijin over Late Young. That might play into their advantage, rejuvenating the tank line a bit, but I think it's going to be on the shoulders of K-Heart here. We know how strong Widowmakers can be, especially on this first point, and K-Heart, maybe not showing it today, but has the potential to be an absolutely insane Widow, so I'm going to be looking to him to take Team CC through this map.
Zijin is somebody we will pay attention to as well coming into the lineup for Late Young as you... K-Heart starting off the way you wanted, Valves, finding that early pick, and then Zijin, the other one that we said that we wanted to watch, also getting an elimination here at the start, allowing them to have control of this point and forcing back Lucky Future here defensively.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised actually that they were running Wantley on the Farah to start. He's normally a hit scan. We're seeing go back over to the Widowmaker now, so maybe he's not comfortable under Vegeta and they value taking Yarg on that instead, but yeah, I'm not quite 100% on taking Yarg and Vegeta one on the Power. It ultimately didn't matter because K-Heart popped off, but moving into second point, Team CC actually took that so cleanly that they don't even really have an ultimate advantage to work with. On a level playing field with 7 minutes on the time bank moving into second point.
I think that was just good discipline from Lucky Future that made it where they didn't have any sort of any sort of alt bank to work with because they vacated so quickly after they had those quick 2 Olins. Yarg able to get one here in K-Hart. Zijin, though, able to get one as well. So the Mercy out of the picture are already almost up to 2 picks here for the side of Team CC. K-Hart and a switch over to the Tracer, trying to get back into this fight too. Self-destruct thrown up into the air. Not going to do anything as Yukuma finds another one in Tian. So Lucky Future, the defense crumbling here at the start. Yakuma just swinging that mace around and eventually gets taken out by Juan Lee on the Doom Fist. As maybe here's a chance for the defense to try and get back into this, but K-Hart back in on the Tracer. Kyo finding that pick on Juan Lee, though, so still fairly even on either side. Using the Primal Rage as Zijiran just trying to keep his team in this one and not allow this snowball to stop. They do still have 2 ticks. They're still re-engaging on. They're just trying to deal with these respawners.
Yeah, huge spawn advantage for Lucky Future playing into the hands. Even if they can't find the kills, they're staying alive long enough to keep rotating. Yakumo Kyo maybe shedding this out and Hokion or so what, as it's not even overtime, it's 5 minutes on the time bank. Nice couple kills, they finally managed to finish it out. The way that was going on, you could forgive me for thinking it was an overtime fight, but no, we've still got 5 minutes 20 on the time bank. Great stall from Lucky Future, just dragging that as long as they can, but they ultimately couldn't turn it around, and Team CC finally finished out their fight. I like this. It's a new, rejuvenated Team CC, a lot more alert and awake than we saw on the first 2 maps. So maybe they are actually going to find their way back in.
It definitely seems like something that they could possibly do. 5:18 on the clock is definitely a good way to start it offensively, and now defensively we will get to see what difference can be made. I think that you have to give some credit to one of the subs that came in Zijin. Zijin there at the start did a lot of work along with K-Hart, who was somebody that you were talking about, Vowels, that you wanted to see make more of an impact.
Yeah, K-Hart definitely showed up like I was hoping for, but Team CC just looks like a brand new team. You've got to credit Zijin coming in. That's probably the factor based on what we know so far. Replace Late Young with him, it breathes new life into the team. It's a new mindset. When you get a substitute player in, they're nice and fresh, they maybe don't have the tilt of 2 maps, they can drag the whole team's mentality up, and I think that's what we're seeing with Team CC. Like I said, they look like a completely new team.
Sort of like when the Bears put Mitchell Trubisky in last season, even though it didn't make a big difference. Had to mention that at some point because you and I are both Bears fans.
I was waiting for the Bears references to come in. Let's try not to talk about it too much. As much as we could go on all day, let's try and shy away from it.
Of course.
It'll get too sad too quickly.
Yes, exactly. Lucky Future, though, not trying to be sad here as they want to try and match this time bank as if they can. They're going to go with the double sniper look here along with the I almost said Zenyatta, but they do have a Zenyatta and the Mercy, but then on their tanks it's Diva and Winston.
Yeah, pretty standard from Lucky Future, dive with double sniper. It's really showing the meta at the moment, especially on the map with Volskaya. You've got dive to engage on the point, try and shut down the opposition tanks, which they've been doing a good job of earlier in the series, maybe not so much now, and then just relying on the snipers to try and get some picks. Yakumo and the Sketchy's gonna have to step up, use his abilities to shut down distance to counter both these snipers while K-Hart tries to pop off from their back. But Yakumo is actually a really underrated player for Team CC, I think. Great amount of flexibility, and while he's not always hot, sometimes it's a bit of a cold day, when he's on, he's definitely on.
Well,
Caster's Curse maybe, get shut.
I was going to say, I think it's Caster's Curse right now because the offense right now doing everything that they need to take this first point, already building up to that first tick. It did take a little bit of time, but not too long. Tian jumping off the map here quickly too, so that way once the tick happens, that he'll be in the correct spawn to be right with the team and in mech to go and try and snowball this.
Yeah, no changes from either side. They're going to keep rolling with what they've got, and maybe there's a little bit of snowball potential for Lucky Future, but we're seeing Kyo's got the Transcendence, Sentry's coming up on a Valkyrie, so they're going to have a couple support ults to maybe stem the snowball coming in, let them solidify a defense. But Lucky Future, the nature of this double sniper tank means they're going to hang back a little bit. Wait for Yago Wanley to try and find a pick. Dragon Strike gets invested to force Team CC on the low ground, but doesn't actually find anything.
they at least do get people onto the low ground. See if that makes one of the differences. Zijin there trying to deal damage in. So what, trying to get into the Transcendence. He was dangerously low here. Wan Li winning that Widow battle is a big one here. Yakumo, though, coming in with the Dragon Blade, trying to be the great equalizer, finds himself a mercy, but coming in is so what at the end there to save him. Great peel to allow for that to happen, but they're still not getting anything built up on the points. He's shooting back into this fight here too with the self-destruct available.
I want to see the Battle Mercy finish off the pick there. So what spoils the party? So both teams just trading back and forth. Lucky Future not quite disengaging, just hanging back a little bit, regrouping, licking their group. You're going to try and re-engage, and they managed to get a nice pick onto Yakumo, who's actually moved over to Doomfist now, so even though Gary's gets taken down, it's going to be a res, and now it's really opening up for Lucky Future, finding a nice couple picks off the back of Wan Li and Gary.
They are about even as far as the time banks are concerned is the only thing here, but they've done the work needed to get that first stick. Now they've got Yakumo coming back in. They're going to use Transcendence here to make sure that they can keep everybody who is still on the point. And a great shot from Wan Li using the infrared sight to take out that Lucio was looking to maybe potentially stall. There are some numbers coming back though onto the point for Team CC. Second tick just about to be taken here. Not quite there yet. They have a couple of players that they have to deal with first, so they aren't going to have quite as big of a time bank, it looks like, but it looks like they're still going to have a healthy time up onto the board as they are working now for that final tick.
Yeah, Zijin manages to get a consolation pick on Sijan in the middle of that fight, but other than that, it's all Lucky Future still coming out. Yakumo on the point managed to find Gary, but Yag's going to pull out the Dragon Blade and is going to try and shut down Team CC for once and for good here. Stall still comes out. Diva Bomb invested by Jin gets set up in the end, doesn't find anything, can't remech, and it looks like that's going to be it. K-Heart and the Tracer managed to touch the point, Sentry and the Lucio, but they can't stay, and it's only about a minute's different behind the team banks. Both teams increasing their overall time, so going to see a pretty exciting round 2 and possibly more.
How much does a minute make as a difference on a map like Volskaya Industries, Vowels?
Obviously it is a difference. You've got maybe a little bit more flexibility if you're a team with 5 minutes instead of 4, but it's still 5 minutes and 4 minutes. You've got plenty of wiggle room there, so it's depreciating returns. It's not as great as if you've got one team with a minute and one team with 2.5 minutes. That's a huge advantage. When you're looking at time balance like this, it's only minor. Both teams just trying to reset. Maybe you've got the kind of mental advantage of we finished faster, we're doing better, but it's still wide open for both teams.
Always feels like that advantage doesn't quite happen though if you're the team that attacked first and then you are going to be defending twice in a row. It kind of almost feels like the advantage goes to a team like Lucky Future who just had a great attack and now they get to go and try and attack it again.
Yeah, keep the momentum going. I think maybe the one criticism I have of Team City on that defense there, Yakumo going over to Doomfist for... I couldn't really figure out why. I've talked about his flexibility before, it's a great compliment to K-Heart, but I feel like there he was trying to flex a little too hard in multiple senses of the word. Pulls out the Doomfist to show off, hey, I can do Doomfist as well and still beat you. But it doesn't work out. Going back to the Genji, it's tried and trusted.
Felt like it was like too early. Like that was a pick that maybe you know, a little bit later and the team struggling on the point maybe would be something he would do, but you don't even get to see if that happens because of how quick the switch happened. But right now the switches have already been taken care of as both teams now getting their first initial picks into this fight. So what, going down but Wan Li finding the Winston on the other side. So both Winstons down, but the res does come in for Team CC, so they do get their Winston back in this fight. Not the same case for Lucky Future, so it looks like they're going to have to wait for So What to get back.
It was actually great work from Zijin on the Diva there. Sacrifices the mech, which maybe it's a little bit sad, but comes in at just the last second. Nice the resurrection for Hoyokian. Means Lucky Future have to fall back and regroup for So What, but they managed to stagger it out. They now managed to find Tian, so again, Lucky Future, they were picked down, they've got to fall back, regroup. As long as Team CC can keep this going, just find one or two constant picks, deny the reses, it's a great way to bleed off time bank. They've already taken off, what, a minute and a half of Lucky Future's time bank? And there hasn't even been a proper team fight yet. It's just been a couple picks onto the tanks and denying the res. It's great work so far from Team CC, just managing this time bank.
There is the Dragon Strike that can be used here by Yarg to potentially take somebody out or give them an advantage. Dragon Blade, though, coming out here for the side of Yakumo. Finds 2 early on, looking for a third. Won't get anybody else. Does get a slash onto the Diva, though, who has to vacate the area as well in Tian. So right now, tough sledding for the side of Lucky Future.
Yakumo maybe gets a bit greedy, gets punished at the end right there by Wanley, and that's going to be an opening for Lucky Future. I was about to compliment him, he does what he needs, managed to find 2 with the Dragon Blade, it's a pretty worthwhile investment, backs out. Zed gets punished, Dragon Strike from Yarg, so they come through to try and split the team, and actually managed to pick off K-Heart, so this is a wide open point for the Lucky Future now.
Completely wide open after Yarg finds another one afterward, and Gary finds Kyo. So now the time still a factor, though. Minute 55. They will eventually get the take here. Just have to get that final point to come through. They will get about, I think it's 15 seconds added back on, or 30 seconds, excuse me, added back on. So they get above that 2-minute mark, but 2 minutes to try and take point B. We saw how tough it was last time.
Look at the ultimate economies though. So what? Has a Primal Rage, that's it for Lucky Future. Team CC don't even have that. They used a Primal Rage, a Self-Destruct, and a Transcendence right at the end there, so maybe getting a little bit lucky that Lucky Future don't really have any great offensive ultimates, because otherwise they'd definitely be on the back foot.
Yarg making the switch over to Brigitte as well to attack this second point. Hart dealing the damage out, though, just moving around now, looking for the flank. Gary, though, in the meantime, will take out Yakumo. So now Tian with the self-destruct can come in here, throws it over the corner, trying to catch them off guard with it. Doesn't get anybody but Yarg. Manages to take out Zishiran. So very good start again for Lucky Future on the offense here. Minute 20 left to go, and they've already got a tick up onto the point. Now make that 2. Just trying to stall out is the Genji. He's able to dash away for the second. Primal Rage available here for So What if he so chooses to use it, as his team now just a small percentage away from completing this point B, and they do get it here with players around to potentially stall, but they couldn't get back on for Team CC, so 58 seconds left on the clock for Lucky Future.
Yeah, and I do like that Brigitte pick from Yarg. It's a lot more close quarters on second point. You can punish and dive tanks that don't really have anywhere to retreat to, and it's only 58 seconds on the time bank. It's a big reduction from what they had originally, but you've still got a time bank. That's pretty impressive, all things considered. Having a time bank after 2 rounds of offense as well, Lucky Future's definitely putting in good work on this offense. We've not seen either team put up a great defense so far, so maybe Lucky Future can be the exception to that rule so far, or maybe Team CC are going to blow through. We'll have to see.
At the very least, they're going to give themselves a third attack. I think that's the most important thing to probably take away from it. Yakumo early on showing us a Brigitte for the comp that Team CC is going to come out with. They do still have the bigger time bank. This is a little bit different than what they showed us last time. Do you like the switch here that they're making?
Yakumo, obviously we've talked about his flexibility. It works most of the time, maybe not when he tries to pull out a Doomfist, but Brigitte is another hero. It's a good complement to K-Heart's Widow as well. If you've got the dive tanks and you've got the Brigitte as well, it just eats up so much attention from the other team. And when you're trying to run a Widowmaker, the other team's attention is a huge resource. If you can buy attention away from your Widowmaker, it allows K-Heart to pop off, and I think that might be what we see here.
K-Heart looking for his counterpart in Wanli. Wanli, though, hiding in where K-Heart currently can't put any pressure onto him and try and win that battle. But the point's starting to go in favor of Team C, and they haven't even been able to eliminate anybody just yet. And they already have the first tick, as the taking out the mech is Zijin, or Zijin taking out the mech of Tian, excuse me, and now the picks start to come in for the side of Team CC.
Yeah, and again, this is the strength of Brigitte against dive defense. Just zone out the tanks, you've got heavy stuff, you've got heavy crowd control abilities to punish tanks if they get too aggressive, they gotta fall back. Yarg managed to find a pick onto Yeshiren, so maybe they can pull this open, but there's 2 ticks already, halfway through the final tick. Yarg managed to pick off Kyo as well, so Lucky Future off the back of Yarg are finally going to be able to finish the round, but 4 minutes, 2 ticks for Team CC, it's looking pretty good.
It is. The only thing is, though, is they're going to have to go through a lot of ultimates. Granted, they do have their Transcendence coming up. They will have Rally, and they will have Valkyrie, so a lot of defensive ultimates to work with. But there is 2 defensive ults on the other side, too, for Lucky Future, along with the Dragon Blade.
Yeah, it's going to be a total of 5 support ultimates across the board. Counting Rally as a support ultimate, Vegeta is technically a support. Yarg's going to have a Dragon Blade too. See how much value we can get out of it.
Can't get any value out of it because the Transcendence comes out perfectly. Does manage to find the Mercy at the end, though, afterwards, who wasn't in it, and Sentry to keep this fight even for the defense. So the offense here has to make a decision. Looks like they're still going to try going in. They do still have the numbers advantage. It looks like it would say a 5-on-4.
Yeah, it's good awareness from Yarg to see Sentry's out of range of Transcendence, quickly jump up and get the kill before Sentry can react. They're going to slowly move in, they've used the Rally. Nice amount of armor. It's great to see the 100 stack of armor underneath the Zenyatta shields, but
they're going to finally take it. Well, almost. I spoke too soon, Vowels. That's the thing, as Kyo and Zishirin get the picks that they need, and then Zijin as well coming in, and now they'll move on to their attack onto point B, but they only have 3 minutes left to go.
yeah, 3 minutes on the time bank, it's definitely not anything to shy away from. They're going to have another rally as well, so build up their armor stacks again. They're going to come up on the Transcendence and Valkyrie too, so a couple defensive tools to work with. They don't really have any huge offensive ultimates for this team comp, but still definitely an opening if they can just deal with Yarg's Genji. Oh, Wanley's winning maker. That works too.
Wan Lee getting that first pick. Yarg coming in, though, with the Dragon Blade here. Misses with a couple of his slaves. This is the Valkyrie ult by Sentry. Made it very hard to reach. So very good use of the Valkyrie ult here. Wan Lee still looking for some picks. This fight has started to stagnate for both sides, but as I say that, so what? Finds his counterpart in Zishirin, and then Wan Lee and Gary get the rest as the defense will stabilize here. 2:14 left to go for Team CC.
And that's a really bad loss for Team CC as well. You invest not only the Rally to me, but the Transcendence, the Valkyrie, the Self-Destruct. You use a whole array of tools, don't find any value. There's still 2 minutes left on the time bank. It's not all lost yet, but you're going up against a Primal Mage and a Valkyrie for Lucky Future, so a couple tools to work with. Yarg's already over halfway to another Dragon Blade as well. Kyo's nearly up at Transcendence again, to his credit. You're going to have that in the pocket when Yarg pulls out the blade. Lukuma's already got another Rally as well, so still a couple tools to work with for Team CC, but they'd like to have a couple of ultimates back in the last fight.
Kyo going to get a Transcendence up here sometime in this fight as well, in case they have to deal with anything like Yarg Blade, but Yarg goes down before the chance to even use the flag. because K-Hart finds the great pick, but the res is able to bring him right back in is the only thing, and quickly pulling it out is Yarg, trying to get that the Zen down, couldn't quite do it. K-Hart in the meantime will find a pick instead, so the offense here with a chance with 1:05 left to go. Yarg still just throwing those shuriken out quickly, eliminated here, and now it's gonna be stall mode coming out for this side of Lucky Future. Zijin using the self-destruct, has a chance to use the self-destruct here if they want, as they have built up to it, but haven't had the need here. They're gonna be below the time bank of Lucky Future at the very least, is the one thing for Team CC, as a couple more kills come in here for the offense, as they're now up to 36 seconds.
Yeah, going to eventually cap, only 22 seconds down, so again, pretty even time banks. Maybe the extra 20 seconds buys you an extra fight on your offense here, but moving into the third round of those Skyrim offenses, both teams need to deep dig into Treasury to try and find something to surprise their opponent, because I think there's time to figure each other out. Obviously, it's a nice cap, but with that much time on the time bank, you've got to do something wrong to not be able to cap. Both teams maybe starting to wear down on the offenses, maybe going to start to peter out. We're going to see some more defenses. We'll have to see.
Team CC now going to be the team attacking here. They ended up having a smaller time bank once it was all said and done. So Yarg getting transported over. They're going with that Goats comp for the side of Lucky Future. You were talking about changing things up. Well, this is definitely a change up from them, but on the side of Team CC, this is sort of what we've already been seeing from them, except they're going straight up dive.
Yeah, so Lucky Future, they know they need to pull something out. They're going to play it a little bit cheeky, going with the Goats comp, going for a really forward hold, sneaking the back, hoping they don't get caught out by Team CC. If Team CC can spot this, it does open up opportunity to rush straight to point, take Lucky Future off guard, but they'll have to see if this pays off. It's definitely a high-risk, high-reward hold.
Well, Team CC not going the way to maybe find, well, the Lucio goes the way to find out where the entire team is of Lucky Future, and now they'll blitz their way onto some players here at the front, but quickly losing the mech was Tian. So so far this gamble not really paying off for them, as they're down a player 6v5. Can they turn it around is the only question. They don't have any reses to even bring back their diva is the other thing too. Yakumo starting to try and dive in, getting close to getting to that first tick, but Yarg now starting to turn it around. Kyo able to get the taken out here. Yakumo diving back in, but having to go away. Gary finding Yakumo, as Sentry does manage to get Kyo back into this fight, but that might be too little too late. It looks like Team CC is going to have to regroup here, and they've only got 7 seconds to do so.
Yeah, Team CC maybe got a little bit lucky that they're running to Lucio. I'm quite surprised that we're seeing that instead of Zenyatta, but takes the right route, managed to spot the opponent. Keihard managed to touch a point, but immediately gets shut down by a Buta. Yuchiman has to drive in now, but is going to get swarmed by Lucky Future.
Chiron quickly swarmed, like you said. Yarg using the Graviton Surge. Here comes 3. This might be the Graviton Surge that gets them the win as well. Using the sound barrier, though, and a good bubble keeps Juan Lee in this fight and quickly eliminates K-Heart, as nobody's able to get on the point. Team CC doesn't even get 33%. The door is open for Lucky Future.
Yeah, despite their composition getting scouted out early, Lucky Future still managed to make it work, and they have actually been able to secure the series win now. Even if Team CC manages to defend for the full two and a bit minute 20, sorry, we'll see a draw on this map. That'll take the series to 2-1 with 2-0 with 1 map left to play. So Team CC kind of got to be kicking themselves. They've had a couple opportunities to put up a much better performance so far in the series. Weren't quite able to capitalize for, and Lucky Future going to be winning out the series. It's great work being able to surprise the opposition with that Ghost composition, and I feel like we might be seeing it again. Actually, it's going to be Yarg on the Zarya instead of Wanley, but again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yarg did a very good job, built up to a Graviton Surge too in just that one fight really that happened. Yarg now switching over to the Tracer though, but not necessarily a terrible pick. Juan Lee is going to be on the Brigitte as well here too, so that'll be able to take care of Yakumo, who will probably be diving in as the Genji. So a little bit of an interesting comp here if Juan Lee decides to stay with the Brigitte.
Yeah, it would surprise me to see Wanley taking the Brigitte instead of Yarg, but it's a nice level of flexibility. It's also quite interesting to me actually that they're going to be taking the Lucio and Moira tank line. Okay, they've done scouting, they're going to swap. Looks like they'll be going over to dive wholesale. No, keeping so what on the right.
Goats.
Goats, it is Goats. That's my bad call. Nice spot. Good work against this dive, and against you were seeing from Yakumo as well. They just need to march on point. They don't need to get a tick. Just speed boost over there. Force the dive to come to you.
Yarg, they're going to take the long flank around here. They're going to take the high ground away from K-Heart, force them off, as coming around is Yarg now on towards the point. So that was the whole point of even switching to the Tracer. Already building up to 40% on the charge here, getting some more by putting the shield onto the Reinhardt, as now they just got to try and deal with these last couple of players that are around. Haven't gotten any picks yet, but they're controlling the point is the important thing, forcing the team of Team CC to have to go into them here. And they've got a high charge Zarya on the point as well for Yarg too, and they find their first pick here. Tian does lose the mech, but that might not matter here if they can get these last couple, and they do, and Lucky Future wins and beats Team CC here 3-0. We of course have one more map, but still Lucky Future winning is huge for them as far as their playoff chances, and just dethroning the team at the top is a massive, massive win.
Yeah, it's a nice substitution for Team CC, bringing Zijin, breathe a a little bit of life into the team, but ultimately it doesn't matter. Great set from Lucky Future, being able to take 3-0 lead, and hey, it's not the Team CC we were expecting, but it's the Lucky Future we wanted to see. Great performance from the tanks, especially So What and Tian, both definitely showing up. You've got to give credit to the DPS and supports. All of Lucky Future is firing on all cylinders, and it's a well-deserved win so far today. Moving into the last couple of weeks of Contenders as well, this sets Lucky Future up nicely for a playoff run. It's got to put the pieces together. Team CC maybe need to regather themselves. Being the favorites and losing this definitely has to hurt.
The one thing for them, Vals, for Lucky Futures, they have to win out. That's really the only way that you have a chance of making it to playoffs. But like you said, this is definitely the team that we've been wanting to see from Lucky Future. But from Team CC, this is super uncharacteristic. The way that this has gone, thought it would have been maybe a little bit more of a fight. I mean, granted, this was a very tough fought for third map, but the other two maps were pretty heavily in favor of Lucky Future. I mean, at least this one was a little bit closer, even though they don't get the win. But what needs to happen here for Team CC to at least get that extra map win? Because that's still going to be something that's important that could still come into a factor for them in maybe being first or being in second.
I maybe contradicting myself on what I'm saying. Just give up on the tank battle, I think, honestly. So What and Tian just completely outclassing GQ Ren, Zijin, Late Young, whoever comes out for Team CC. You've got to win this off the back of K-Heart and Yakumo now. They've had a couple nice moments, a couple nice flashy plays at the highlight reel, but they haven't been consistent enough being able to step up with Yarg and Wanli, and that's spelt doom for Team CC. It's great work from Team CC. Again, they're firing on all cylinders. Everyone's playing to a high level. Lucky Future, everyone's firing on all cylinders, being able to play to a high level. Team CC can't quite step up. And it's actually quite fitting, I think, that they're playing against Team CC, the Shanghai Dragons Academy team, because if anyone at Shanghai Dragons is watching, take notes. This is how you integrate Koreans into a Chinese roster. So What on Yarg, you wouldn't be able to tell that the Koreans playing with a Chinese team. There's seemingly no communication issues, no synergy issues. Everyone's just flowing together perfectly. Great work from Lucky Future. If we can see Lucky Future continue to play like this, expect a good playoffs run.
We can definitely hope that from them. They do have to pretty much win out, being the fact that they already had 2 losses before this one. So they finally get their first one is the very first thing. And to illustrate your point about communication, Yarg on the Tracer going ahead to scout, then quickly coming back to go to that Goats comp. That's great. Just team strategy too. We're going to take a quick break here though. When we come back, we'll find out what happens in map number 4 if Team CC can get the map win on in the very least.
Yeah, break ground is the ghost out. When I step up in the town, call me Jack Flowers. Bring the sound, homie, make it loud. Pump it up like Joey Bud if you ain't a coward. Take it to the head, ayy. One time to the base, give you head aches. Crack shells to the head break. When it's crunch time, I'ma clutch mine, homie. I've been hungry like a wolf. Black chain bang against my chest like whoa. $1 million mine from the west side, yo. The full moon, if we gon' get wild, yo. Stressed out, you don't want to get too close. Stand down before we put you and all of your men down. Fire squad camo, kicking through the door. Keep firing till the clippers on the floor. Reload. Blood on the floor, blood on your shirt. Look up at the clouds, what is it worth? Don't ask me my advice, I don't teach. Don't judge my way of life, I don't preach. I just won't be long, please can you leave? I ain't used to the way that you perceive. 100,000 eyes on me, telling lies on me. Just listen to you see. Black chain banging against my chest like whoa. $1 million mind from the west side, yo. The full moon, yeah, we gon' get wild, yo. Stressed out, you don't want to get too close. Stand down before we put you and all of your men down. Fire squad demo, kicking through the door. Keep firing till the clip is on the floor. Reload.
Check this, got one more for the set list. Walk in the spot and I drop one track, know who the best is. Walk in the rave like check this, got one more for the set list.
Tell me what's going down. I can't stand it when you're so shut down.
But now I want more, now I want more, now I want more, now I want more.
Tell me what's going down. I can't stand it when you're so shut down.
But now I want more, now I want more, now I want more, now I want more.
Tell me what's
Walk in the rave like check this, got one more for the set list. Walk in the spot and I drop one track, know who the best is.
Tell me what's going. Tell me what's going down. I can't stand it when you're so shut down.
Now I want more, now I want more, now I want more, now I want more. Walk in the rave like check this, got one more for the set list. Walk in the spot and I drop one track, know who the best is. Walk in the rave like check this, got one more for the set list. But now I want more. But now I want more. But now I want more.
Tell me what's going
And we're back here on Overwatch Contenders China, brought to you by Broadcast.gg. I'm Labosco. Val's here with you. We already know our winner is Lucky Future over Team CC, but we have one more map to play. And Vowels, we're going to Italy. Rialto is the map of choice here for these two teams. And really right now for Team CC, obviously it's a little bit of pride, but also trying to help their map totals for this one. They're already have a pretty good map total before this one because they had only actually lost one map other than these three that they've lost now, but you still want to get a win here if you can.
Yeah, and moving to Rialto in Chinese Contenders, I'm telling you now, we're going to see Widowmakers, we're going to see Farmers, we're going to see Reinhardts and Zayas, we're going to see Barrages, Gravitons, Earth Shadows all over the place like you wouldn't believe. It's going to be a fun matchup. I always like seeing how teams approach Rialto. It's relatively new map. Teams still figuring out which flank routes are the best, how to navigate through the main path. And we've seen some really interesting tactics brought out. Even if the comps are the same, teams' positioning and where they choose to take fights has been quite interesting to say the least. So getting into map already, we're going to see Lucky Future running actually a single support defense, taking up Gary on the Roadhog again, and already take out Cheeky Ren with the Hulk for Orisa.
Yeah, interesting to see that we came in here and the cart was already starting a little bit. 3:35 left to go here for Team CC, and their first attack doesn't work out very well. By the way, want to mention too that Team CC did make a switch. Zijin back to the bench, Late Young back in, playing in that flex position that they have, and now they'll start to move the cart here as Lucky Future is backed off just a little bit here to take that corner and start their defense there.
Yeah, Team CC had originally come out with a double sniper competition. Let's see what they're up against. They're going to pop over to the full dive, but Wanley popping off takes out both the supports, and it's going to be back to the drawing board again. A minute off the time bank already. Nice dive onto Late Young to buy up even more time, and Kyo's actually going to make a change, move Zenyatta onto the Lucio. That's a really interesting change to me. Not valuing the discords to shred through tanks as much as I like, instead wanting the mobility of the dive tanks, maybe a little bit more healing, so it's interesting. We'll have to see if it works out, but we'll have to see. Yeah, I don't know what to say about this. I'm so used to seeing Zen, it's definitely an interesting change.
Well, Kyo may be more comfortable on the Lucio. Regardless, his team losing the fight on the point right now, and they're quickly going to have to go back and regroup here. This has been the start that you would want if you're the side of Lucky Future, trying to have that full hold here on Rialto. It's a little bit rare to see, but we have seen it already here in Contenders China that it is something that can happen.
Yeah, Rialto can be a very easy map to full hold on sometimes, especially playing around these chokes. Going to see the dive tanks maybe taking flank routes, trying to find an opening here. So we'll have to see. That's a nice pick onto Late Young from Gary and So What, teaming up. Again, just stacking out Team CC even further. Letting these picks come through, and over 2 minutes off the time bank already. Team CC haven't really found an opening. Maybe a little bit demoralized after lose already, but they need to try and put up some kind of a fight. They can't keep just staggering themselves like this.
It's been very hard staggers from them. They're also at a very big disadvantage as far as the ultimate economy goes. Supercharger going to be used here at the start by So What. Wanley does finally fall to K Hart, but the res is going to be able to bring Wanley right back into the fight. The Winston dive coming in here along with the Tracer, but the defense still holding strong, taking out the rest of the players that need to be taken out to keep this defense going. Gary looking for another one there with the help of Yarg, finds Kyo. So they have to retreat once again for the side of Team CC, just kind of dealing as much damage before being taken out as Ishirin. So it's just going horribly right now for Team CC.
Yeah, maybe you've got a little bit of an opening here. You've got the Pulse Bomb, you've got the Dragon Blade, you've got the Primal Rage. Gonna come up on a self-destruct and Sound Barrier too, so a couple ultimates to work with, but backs him against the wall now. 30 seconds left of the time bank. It's do or die time for Team CC to try and make any kind of progress on this map.
20 seconds left to go here. They're coming around through the building here first onto Yarg. Primal Rage going to be used here. Also, the Dragon Blade is invested well. Yakumo finally taking out Yarg, and then they do get the Mercy as well. So maybe a chance here to keep this push going on as they do take out the last couple. We'll see what Gary decides to do. Gary will try to regroup because there may be a chance for the defense to have one more chance at the hold here before this final point. Gary, though, gets staggered hard.
Yeah, nice Dragon Blade from Yakumo, already 40% to his X1, and it's a good stagger onto Gary as well. And the Roadhog can be a bit of an ore battery sometimes. It allows Yakumo to build up even more charge. They can't quite deny the res, but they get a pick onto Hoyokian instead.
See, though, if that matters, Wan Lee gets the Mercy on the other side, so they're both without Mercies, and Wan Lee now finding Kill. Well, so you do have the Hanzo fall here, but you do have a chance here for this defense to have the hold. K-Hart, though, able to take out. Now it's just a Baby Diva in there as well, and they won't get out of the cart and hold on. They're able to do what's needed there. Wan Lee was able to take K-Hart, so they full hold them here on this first point. Now they've just got to go almost to that first checkpoint.
Yeah, great work from Wan Lee. Doesn't even need to find the headshots. It's just clean up, body shot, body shot, body shot, mows down the opposition, and right at the last moment, Team CC have their push taken away from them. Maybe there was an opening there if they didn't spend so much time at the start just getting staggered, slowly edging forward, not really finding an answer. But hey, it's great work from Lucky Future at least. Making this triple tank opposition work. Team CC haven't really found an answer to this. Maybe they're going to find it now, pulling out Yakumo on the Farah. But in the answer to that, it looks like we're actually going to see a GOATS composition on the offense. So still plenty of time left in spawns. Both teams figuring out what they're going to do. And Lucky Future definitely still in the driving seat.
So what is showing us his Widowmaker right now? I think we're all pretty sure that So What is not going to stay on that. And maybe they will go with this GOATS lineup here. We'll see if that's what they end up doing. But like you said, on the side of Team CC, they're trying something a little bit different. The Fair is not a surprise here. You talked about Fair before the map even started. And we didn't see any Fair as far as the attack went for Team CC.
Yeah, so Yakumo on the Farah, I would have liked to see this on the offense. Well, I feel like it might have worked a bit better. But hey, what's done is done. Going to bring it on the defense at least. And this tank duo is actually really interesting to me. We almost never see an Orisa Xayah tank duo. You normally look to take the Reinhardt if you want Xayah, or if you value the Orisa, you take a Roadhog for synergy reasons. Maybe they're falling back on comfort picks a bit here. It will be interesting to see if they can make this work. But I feel like the crux of this is going to fall onto K-Hart on that Widowmaker. Try and step up, click heads, and it is going to be rolling out with GOATS for Lucky Future. So try and roll over the Orisa barrier, but it's going to be Yakumo's going to have to rain hell from above to shred through these tanks.
It's going to be a very difficult comp to try and take apart here. They do have the Fair that can deal a lot of damage. Barrage builds really fast against this comp, so we'll see if the GOATS comp is something they stick with for a long time. Yarg already building up, getting pretty high charge at the start. Now coming around on a little bit of a flank as well. Hart looking for some targets as well, trying to flank around here towards the back line, but Yarg and his team going to get Kyo here at the start. So already incredible starting for the offense here as they're already pushing close to that golden box, forcing back the team in Team CC. The barrage, though, coming out here quickly, but it might be too little too late. They only get two, and the rest of the team is already taken out, and Yakumo gone as well. So maybe one more hold for the defense here before they get to that golden box for the offense, as they can try and win this very quickly.
Okay, so Sentry's got a Valkyrie. That's a little bit of an opening if you can get back to the time. Build up till late Young can get a Graviton as well. Bubble comes through to save So What's life. Whiffs the shatter though, so tanks are back. It's do or die time for TCC. They've maybe got an opening. K-Hart managed to find Wan Lee, and So What gets taken down too. Team CC might just be turning us around.
Shiran able to swing that hammer and get a few, so the GOATS comp not working there, but they're so close with 227 left to go. They do have some ultimates to work with. We'll see if they just decide to stick with this comp since they don't have much distance, and they've got a lot of ults that'll be coming on.
And the big thing here to watch for Lucky Future, Tian on the Diva has another self-destruct. He's had some huge bombs earlier this set. So nice pick from Yakumo, used the concussive blast and So What swimming. And yeah, it's going to slow down the offense slightly, but I'm going to look for Tian and So What with these tank ultimates here. You've got the self-destruct, we've got the Earth Shatter. Definitely going to bring up some openings to Team CC.
the barrage being built up for as well. Here is the thing too. So Yakumo going to have another opportunity to drop that on this team in Lucky Future. They're going to use the Graviton Surge, but it gets... Now out comes the barrage, and it doesn't find anybody. Hart does manage to get Tiana at the very least, and now the Graviton Surge from the side of Lucky Future comes out. They get maybe one out of it from So What's Charge, but see, Shiron able to get one as well. K-Hart and Yakumo combining for a few more as well, and now you're probably going to see switches come for Lucky Future as they fail another attempt with this GOATS lineup.
Yeah, Yakumo on this Farah is just able to rain down health from above. There isn't really an answer. Lucky Future still aren't making any changes. Kind of relying on making this work, and it's a nice pick onto K-Hart as well. Does get resurrected up, but maybe that's going to provide an opening for Lucky Future. Team CC don't have the resurrect anymore. Lucky Future can pull in, don't really have ultimates to work with. Going to come up on the rally, so a little bit of extra armor for sustain. That's all they've really got to work with. Yakumo's going to have another barrage though, so might be able to shut down this offense again.
Almost a barrage of fight here for Yakumo. Transcendence coming out from Team CC, and now the barrage right up Gary's. All that healing quickly gone out. 30 seconds, all that's left for the side of Lucky Future, as Hart now just hunting down the last few, trying to stagger this team in Lucky Future as much as possible. 22 seconds left to go. Now you've got to commit, I guess, to this GOATS lineup.
Yeah, Lucky Future has to rush in. It's way too late to change. They've got to rely on the Lucia speed boost to get there on time. Maybe throw in a charge from So What as well. But Team CC, they've got a Graviton, they've got a Transcendence, plenty of tools to work with. If Yarg and So What can stay alive long enough to build up their tank ults, it might be an ultimate. But here comes the Graviton.
Catches a bunch in there. They do manage to take out one, and now Zishirin just going wild here on this Reinhardt, and this should be all that they need to do to win their map finally here, as they do win one map here to Team CC, but it's still a 3-1 win for the side of Lucky Future. They still have to be happy with this, even though they don't win on in 4-0 fashion.
Yeah, not to take anything away from Team CC, it was well thought there, but I do kind of wonder if what we're seeing with Lucky Future committing to the GOATS composition is thinking, we've won the set anyway, we've got the series, we're fine losing this map, we don't really want to reveal any strats moving into the final weeks of the series and playoffs, so maybe that's why we were seeing them just committing to GOATS and trying to make that work. They don't want to give anything away, they're fine with dropping the map if they need to, but it was great work from TCC, especially Yakumo on the Farah, to finally turn things around.
And in their defense too, they almost made it work for Lucky Future, so you don't reveal anything, you almost win the map anyways. And I mean, for me, they did win some maps and losses, but you're sitting still at very close to the bottom. So I feel like every map counts here, and maybe it's better off to reveal those things. But for Team CC, I mean, you get to end on a high note. At the very least, you win Rialto. For them, they're still in a good position to make playoffs. So even though they lose, they have plenty of film to look at to see what they need to correct. What more do you want to see from them moving forward, Bells?
Just tighten up the ship a bit. Kind of losing the tank line battles. There's potential there to step up, but especially with how strong So What playing today, there's not much you could do there. I am interested to see what the analyst desk has to say about this, so we're going to pass it over to the ever lovely Ham, Panda, and Volumel to see what they have to say about today's action.
And happy to oblige, Vowels. Hey, Panda, Volumel, we have reached the end, and CC able to bring things back, at least get that one map win to their name, so that series loss going to be feeling slightly mitigated. But there were more matchups than Rialto to talk about. We're going to throw all the way back to Volskaya, which feels like ages ago. It was so competitive on this round, but we still, even though we saw Lucky Future eventually take that win, Team CC rebounding after the half, given how quickly they were being swept. I want a little something of what they got. They managed to finish out the entire map with over 5 minutes in the bank. What was that kind of a little bit of extra secret juice, Volumel?
It seemed like they kind of came alive. They pressured Lucky Future quite a bit. It was difficult for them to find any room their DPS started to come online a little bit. I think Val's brought up a great point where when the DPS swap in on the first map, it takes them a little bit to kind of get rolling. And I think it went both ways for both teams. And CC just looked to be really good. They really started to push
that
through.
Brig, right? The first time we saw Yarg playing the Brig, that kind of helped push it through, I would say.
Definitely.
Panda, what are your thoughts?
Especially coming off of Lucky Future's 3-win here. I mean, in almost convincing fashion, to Yarg's point as well. I think Wan Li came to life for me a little bit more throughout the series, stepping in for Slipwalker as well. So not really making a prevalent showcasing on Widowmaker. When he came out on Hanzo, it looked pretty fantastic. But all things considering, this sub-Korean roster, if you will, in Lucky Future really came to show all around the main tank of So What. Definitely one of my favorite players in Chinese Contenders right now, just off of the space that he could solely create on his own sheer presence alone. Primal Rage in this man's hands is truly impeccable.
Yeah, and you mentioned, Panda, that even though Wan Li wasn't, having necessarily those mad Widow kill streaks, he didn't need to, as his tank line were more than ready to absorb some of that responsibility onto their own shoulders. And you also brought up the fact that this is a mixed roster. We often talk about these mixed rosters. We know with the Shanghai Dragons, one of the unfortunately poorest performing teams in all of sports history, the communication is always going to be a potential issue. But did we actually see that be the case as it played out for Lucky Future?
I think it did. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there comes a certain point in time where communication can be a little cluttered, right? I mean, when you hear all these cooldowns, Zarya bubble management, ult management, whether or not a Pharah used her jump jet, a Winston using his bubble jumps, there's so much to keep track of. Sometimes it just comes down to chase the purple ball, stupid. And that's one of the best parts about having a Zenyatta on your team and a multicultural team, such as Lucky Future, is because you can just place a proper Discord orb on a multitude of targets. And I would go ahead and say even that Gary made a showcasing on how to follow through on a lot of those Discorded targets by his own self, but pulling out a lot of those different DPS, Wan Li, Yarg, and So What as well, being there for the dive, chasing the purple ball of death from the Discord orb, really opened up the floor against Team CC, and I felt like that's where they fell short.
100%. You brought up a great point. In the kind of an analysis room that we were kind of sitting in, where you're really kind of dictating, you saw Gary dictating exactly where their Widow and where their DPS were looking. On Volskaya particularly, you saw the Winston jump in. The second he's, at the apex of his leap, purple ball's on him, everybody's dogpiling on top of him, and he's, he hits the ground with 25% HP. It's that kind of single-minded focus that I think really pushed Lucky Future over the edge. And that kind of coupled with, I think, CC, oddly enough, didn't kind of meet expectations when it kind of came to this new meta. I think, they've been early adopters. They haven't been early adopters, excuse me. They started off the week playing last week's compositions. They've played kind of very comfort style, and I think they've been doing very well from those early weeks. And now we're starting to get teams to really kind of understand things. You saw Lucky Future bring out that kind of solo Mercy composition, and I think that's what we're going to start seeing more often now. And if Team CC don't start adapting to that, this new, very reflexive, very reactive kind of style, they're going to fall behind.
It goes back once again to the team's ability to pivot, which Volamel, you touched upon before the half as well. Hopefully CC going to be able to adapt, otherwise they might find themselves dropping down. We talked about this group B and how it looked like there may have been just a couple of dominant teams, but Lucky Future still making things interesting here. Now, we're gonna play a slight game here. One phrase answers. We'll throw to you first, Panda. CC, given everything that we've seen from them, their ups and downs, why did the team that was set to win everything end up losing?
I think it could be a certain amount of overconfidence. Certainly when you get to the point of where Team CC is at, Shanghai Dragons Academy team, again, once you have that mantle to uphold, you can find yourself a little bit lost in the pressure, lost in the sauce, if you will. you can feel really good about yourselves going into these series, taking down big dogs in early going for their map differential thus far. But when you meet a sustaining team like Lucky Future that's still growing and still willing to push themselves to the next level, you can't sleep on that. You have to be careful what you put onto the table. If you're not comfortable taking a dive into So What's Winston, you know he's a very confident Winston player. You know he's going to know how to counter dive you. You just have to be careful of that kind of thing. Team CC may be playing in their previous maps against teams that weren't ready for their standard style around K-Heart's Widow McCree hero pool and Yakumo's Genji and Pharah combination as well. This team, Team CC, is very strong, but it's always been their game to lose, and they've always been able to set themselves up for success, such as on Rialto when they come out with a Pharah composition on defense, already imagining that Lucky Future is going to come out with the Brigetta, that if they continue that hindsight and really enable their own minds to venture off 2 minutes into a fight instead of just what we can do right out of the spawn gates, I think that we'll see a more proactive play coming out of Team CC, and they're going to need it because, I mean, me and Volmel were even sitting here just speculating. This really just opens up the floor for their group.
100%. CC got to borrow a little bit of that future gaze from their opponent today. So that was slightly more than one phrase, Panda, but I'll still give it to you. We'll parse that out into overconfidence and static comps, not being flexible enough. Yeah, we got the whole essay for free. You got a whole essay for just one phrase. Volumel, why do you feel that, if you could kind of sum up Team CC's difficulties this entire series, what would that be?
I gotta say it's the meta. Again, I don't want to kick the dead horse today, but it's the return. Yeah, no, exactly. It's that return to what Overwatch has kind of been, and being able to hero swap and being able to identify the team strategy correctly, and that's what they need to do. That's what they kind of have to go back to, and tie everything together. It looks like they kind of got in their own heads. They just need to tie it up.
That's right. Bring it back together. Bring it back to the old school Team CC, formerly MY, that we know and love of old. But that is going to wrap it up for us here at Broadcast.gg for today. Just a summary of what we saw. Not quite the same 3-4-0s of last Sunday, but we had LGD taking the series against Moss 7 Club 4-0. Flag Gaming also taking the 4-0 win against 666 Legend, and Lucky Future taking the series against Team CC 3-1. So for any of you guys just now tuning in, got to get that BGG plug in. Broadcast.gg, we are a community of amateur esports broadcasters. So if any of you guys are interested in potentially sitting here in this position that we are in one day, we have a lot of resources for casters, hosts, analysts, producers as well. So you can always check out our link, join our server in the chat. And of course, always feel free to drop us a follow on Twitter at broadcast.GG. And of course, all of our lovely talent that we've had throughout today. I have been Ham Tornado, your host. We had Volumel and Panda on the desk earlier. We also had Kenobi bringing us the games, was Vowels and Labosco. And earlier we saw our charming British chaps, one amongst many, and Ryan Central as well. That'll wrap it up for Chinese Contenders today. But if you're hungry for more Contenders content, do check out our channel once again on Thursday, as we will be bringing you some spicy South American matches. But from all of us here at Broadcast.gg, it's been a pleasure to bring you these games, and that'll be us signing off for today.
Wanna take you
Got your hands on me. Every time we touch, there's a sense of urgency. Yeah, you wind me up. Oh, baby.